Hi, I'd like to tell you about a book I've written. It's called Confessions of a Pest Controller. I was in the pest control business for about 20 years in South Africa and the UK. And during that time I came across some incredible people and witnessed some very funny things. And when telling family and friends about these day-to-day events, they would say, you have to write this down. It's just so funny, you couldn't make it up. So eventually I did write the book. It's a collection of 64 very short stories, which you'll find very funny. I'll give you an example. Coming back from a bush retreat up near Nelspruit, we've been there for a week. 3 of the directors chartered a Piper Cherokee plane to fly back to Lanseria Airport. The rest of the delegates were going back by car. And the directors had a spare seat, so they said, "Would you like to come along?" So I jumped at the idea, and before I knew it I was standing in this field waiting for this little plane to land. It was circling around. It was a little Piper Cherokee single engine plane, and I was looking at the bush thinking, where is this plane going to land? There was no airstrip, no dirt track. It was just long grass and termite mounds everywhere. Anyway, the plane lands, and as it's taxiing towards us, it hits one of the termite mounds, which shears the wheel and the strut right off the plane. So one of the directors standing next to me, who was nervous before this happened, was saying, "There's no way I'm going to get on this plane." But then a farmer came up, and he said he had some welding gear, and that he would try and weld the wheel back on. And I was thinking to myself, this could only happen in Africa. But there's a saying in South Africa, "Die boer maak 'n plan," which means the farmer makes a plan. And that's exactly what happened. The farmer welded the wheel back on, and we boarded the plane, and we were very unsure whether it was safe to take off. And we were thinking, how were we going to land on this thing? But anyway, that's one of the stories in the book. Another one was when we had to do a ship fumigation. It was a massive ship, a 50,000 ton bulk carrier, and the bulk carrier has 5 holds, and it's empty when it arrives in port. So the fumigation team has to fumigate it with methyl bromide gas to make sure there are no insect pests before it loads up with whatever crop they're putting in. So it was white maize going into this one. Now my fumigation team consisted of myself plus 5 others, one of whom was a sangoma, or a witch doctor. Now he must have been a part-time witch doctor because he worked Monday to Friday for us. But anyway, he was the witch doctor in the local township. He could be a bit of a problem, and he was on this fumigation. So when you do a fumigation, the captain of the ship and the first mate and the crew, they have to leave, and then the fumigator in charge takes control of the ship. And this one took 3 days, and I was on there for 2 nights. Anyway, I noticed that as the crew were leaving, they were a Sri Lankan crew, that the Sangoma was having a little discussion with them, which I found a bit strange. Anyway, we taped the ship up, which took about 8 hours, and then we got the gas cylinders on board. And the next step was to go into each hold, which entails walking down a ladder, which is about the height of a 6-story building, with some poly pipe that you unravel as you go down. You walk across the bottom of the hold, then up the ladder on the other side, and secure the pipe. And then you connect all the pipe work up to the gas cylinders and release the gas. So at that point, the Sangoma and the rest of the team said that there was no way they could go into the hold. And I said, "But why? What's going on?" And Sangoma said, "No, the ship is cursed." And I said, "Don't be so ridiculous. What's giving you this idea that the ship is cursed?" Anyway, I don't believe in ships being cursed, but that ship was an absolute nightmare, and I called it the ship from hell. It's in the book, because everything that could have gone wrong went wrong on that ship fumigation. And there's another one as an example. We were doing a trial of a new insecticide, which was to be registered on wheat. And it was a tractor mounted trial. So you have a big tractor, and on the back you have a huge spray tank with a boom. And then you have all these nozzles that you have to calibrate. Now my colleague was just finishing the calibration of the nozzles when the coupling between the tractor and the spray tank came apart, and that's under pressure. So it completely drenched him in a solution of this deadly insecticide. Anyway, the poor man panicked, as one would. He stripped off completely naked in this field of wheat, and then went running through looking for water to jump into, and eventually found a horse trough, dived in there and started scrubbing himself down completely naked, and then got out the horse trough and ran towards his car, because in the glove box of the cars we had atropine sulfate tablets, which are used as an antidote to organophosphate poisoning. He jumped over the barbed wire fence, and all the cars were slowing down to have a look at this naked man running along the side of the road. Anyway, he survived, but that's another one of the funny stories in the book. But there are dozens of them, from when Nelson Mandela came to our town after he was released from prison in 1990, to the night a leopard jumped into a chalet I was staying in another bush reserve while I was in the room. It gave me the fright of my life. It's something I wouldn't want to happen again. And if you get the chance, buy the book. There's also an version of it. Get yourself a coffee and have a fun read. Okay, thank you. Bye.